People's Army is a collection of people who all thought the same way. This is just for the money, so talk about girls and shooting people, please. Nah, I'm alright. That's what you took from everything I just said. That was your comment. That's a very big question.
It's an answer with a big answer.
From Little Sims to Dappy to Section Boys, we've got loads of people who come through our studio. What we were saying was not seen as marketable. There come a time when it got a bit political and everyone split up and everyone had their own little crews, etc. We were saying a lot of controversial stuff. From young, I've just been programmed that way, you know. You never tell police your real name.
Okay, so today, for the DocuChat, we're heading straight over to Bermondsey, South London, at the KingShip Studios to talk to one of underground UK hip-hop's most important and respected figures. But before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. And now, we're going to go straight into this with the one and only Logic, People's Army, the General. What's going on, bro?
Salute, my brother.
How
Blessed
you
for having me. Blessed for coming through. I'm well, man. I'm well. I can't complain, you know.
Excellent.
Life is living.
As I keep saying to everybody, this is something we planned for a long time, but you know.
It's been in the pipeline, yeah, of course. It's overdue. So yeah, it's just as about time we sit down and have a chat.
When I was trying to find out about you a few years ago, because I was doing CDs for you and stuff, and I wanted to know because I was intrigued because there was a lot of substance to the music that you were making. There was a lot of messages, a lot of things going on. And, you know, me personally, I enjoy when there's messages. You know what I mean? So I wanted to find out about you, but I couldn't find out much about you in terms of people interviewing you and stuff like that. And I was finding out more about you through your own lyrics.
Yeah, I tell you the truth, I never really, I didn't do a lot of interviews, so to speak. And even, yeah, talking in public wasn't really my thing. It was more of a musical expression. So yeah, I think I tried to be elusive, you know. I think at the start of my career, the whole aim was to be elusive and not let people know exactly who I am. But yeah, I suppose it worked.
Was there a reason for that?
I tell you the truth, for real, we were very like we were doing a lot of political movements, etc. And it was things that we were saying may have been seen as illegal. I don't know. You know the way that like we were controversial. So for me to just hold back my identity as much as I could, it was a natural process. And I think from young I've just been programmed that way. You know, you never tell police your real name.
When you're given the address, you give the address of someone you don't like. Yeah.
So you know how it goes. So yeah, identity was always something I kept under wraps as much as I could. But yeah, man, it's just part of my journey.
Is it still part of your journey now?
Nah, I'm grown now. You know, I think it's not hard to find out my government name, etc., etc. And my stance and my position is different to what it was coming up. You know, I'm accessible now.
Give us a little bit of insight as to why you became Logic.
Why I became
As in,
Logic.
tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
That makes me sound like a superhero still. I like that still. You're like, why you became Spider-Man? Why you became Yeah, no, I respect
whatever you believe, bro.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Why I became Logic. So basically, hip-hop has always been one of my loves, my musical. I used to rave to garage. Everyone back in the day, we used to rave to garage, obviously, and jungle first, then it evolved to garage. But as for what we listened to in our yards, it was hip hop. So we used to listen to the Americans to begin with, and I've always been a creative person. You know, I've always been like I'll be into painting or I'll be into anything artistic. I'll like. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think music just became a natural evolution for me, whereby, yeah, I just found a passion, something I loved listening to first and foremost. And then I thought, oh, I could have a go at that myself, and I can, you know, put my different perspective on it, so to speak. So yeah, Logic came from just me wanting to be a creative and finding my feet in the music industry.
When you were finding yourself, did you kind of have a strategy as to what you were going to do lyrically, the kind of messages you were going to get across?
Nah, none
Okay,
of
so how
that,
did
mate.
that develop?
See what it is there? I think in them days there, every artist was organic. Do you understand? I think nowadays you might meet a lot. If you were to meet 100 artists, so to speak, say 60 or 70% of them might be organic, but then there'll be the 30% which are just there because they want to make it a job, etc., etc. But I think in my era, probably just before my everything before my era, if you were doing hip hop music, especially, you loved doing it. It was not something you got into because you wanted to be rich or you wanted to get money, or you know what I'm saying. It was something you loved to do because yeah, there wasn't the high life, and the money wasn't really in it them times there. So if anyone who was involved in it, you loved to do it. You know what I'm saying? It was a real passion of yours.
So were you surrounded by people that were thinking similar to you, or was
I
it?
was raised in what people would call the hood, in obviously Brixton, Myersfield, um, block life, whatever you want to call it. So most of the people around me, yeah, we love music. You know, we love music, and everyone had their own favorites. And people love gangster rap, and some people love the Talib Kweli's, etc., etc. But differently, music was always a passion of ours growing up. So as for who I was surrounded by the hood. So, you know, it was a lot of their perspective I was surrounded by growing up.
You've got your studio, which we'll talk about later.
Mm.
But why is your studio not where you were brought up in the hood in Brixton? Just curious.
To tell you the truth, this is not far from the hood. This is the hood still. This is Bermondsey. This is like
Yeah, but why not Brixton?
rent.
That sums it up, doesn't it?
To tell you the truth, my brother.
What else can you tell us about your early years? Tell us a little bit about you as a youngster.
I'm half Jamaican. My mom is Nigerian Irish, and I was predominantly raised with my mom, obviously. And yeah, growing up, it was mainly because my nan was there, a strong part of my growing up as well. She's Irish, so there was a lot of the Irish Revolution in my upbringing. There was a lot of wolf tones. There was a lot of understanding what was going on politically in that spectrum. So yeah, growing up, that was a natural growth. That was a natural installation for me. I didn't have to search for that. I didn't have to go and look and find out what's going on. The Irish Revolution was part of my upbringing, so to speak. So yeah, I was raised on revolutionary music. Come out, you black and tans. Come out and fight me. Like come out. Yeah, no, I was raised on them type of tune there. So understanding struggle was something that was embedded from an early age.
So you more than most can relate to that. No blacks, no Irish, no dogs.
Yeah, 100%. To tell you the truth, it wasn't part of my lifetime. It was a bit before my lifetime,
But
but
it's still very relevant today. It goes on.
100%,
So
100%, 100%. And yeah, I'm definitely one of the people that overstand that statement there. And even if you go around the world, it wasn't just Ireland, you know. If you go to India, they had a similar statement. No, no Indians, no dogs. It stems from racism ultimately, and when people colonize another land, they try to
it's control, right?
whitewash it and control it, you know. So for them to do that, they try to ostracize the locals. Same happened in America with the Native Americans.
A lot of artists, when you listen to them, quite a lot of people will just do party music and whatever, and that's their escape from the life they live or whatever it is. Or maybe they just haven't experienced that other life. Then there's artists like you, like me, who've got stories to tell, who've got things they want to get off their chest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And me as an artist that's got stuff that I want to get off my chest, that comes from a place of hurt, a place of pain, a place of misunderstanding, a place of, do you know what I mean? And you're always delivering messages in your music. So I'm trying to get to understand, did something happen at a young age that made you think, right, I'm going to be this person that always delivers strong messages?
No, I wouldn't say there was any particular event that has
Not directly to you, but things that you may have seen.
everything I've seen. Everything that I've seen growing up has made me the man I am today, you know, has made me has shaped my outlook on life, my perspective. So whether it be the looking back on the Brixton riots, or looking at the riots in Egypt, or looking at any type of fuckery that's been going on over the years, it's like something that's triggered me. You understand? It's something that's triggered me to always want to say something that needs to be said, so to speak.
You know that saying where they say it's something a child should never have seen? You know? Is there something that you should never have seen?
But how do you define child?
Up to the age of, say, about 12?
Oh no, I was raised in a nice household where up to 12 I was protected. I was held in the corner. It's only when I reached like about 14, 15, I started to venture out and be on the block and be a part of my surroundings, and you know, soak in my environment. But yeah, from my early ages, I was raised, a young, went to Catholic school, Catholic boy, which I don't really take part in now, but that's how I was raised. But yeah, man, things change as time goes on.
So you're now the age of 14, 15. You're starting to discover your own path in life. And you discover music as well around that same time, I guess.
Well, I discovered the real hip hop. That's what it was. Before that, don't get me wrong, I had, like I said, the protection was there. So I couldn't get access to everything. But I had access to like MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, you know. Moni Love was on the spectrum, you know, like there was a few people in my like within my reach that I could access. So yeah, before that it was a lot of that I was listening to growing up. And yeah, when I reached 14, 15, it was actually my brother Tim, Tim, big up Big Tim. Yeah, he was the first brother who showed me the hip hop from the States. Like who was he listening to them times? He was a Wu Tang man still. He was on the Wu Tang thing really. Everyone from Shaheem, anyone who had anything to do with Wu Tang, that was Tim's thing. But then I went to the shop and I bought Wu Tang, 36 Chambers, and Mob Deep Infamous. So they were my first two albums that's I probably know inside out from now if you play
What a
any of
good
them.
way to start.
Yeah, they were my two first CDs that I purchased to throw me into the hip hop world. And yeah, from there, um, Queensbridge was my place, you know. Heard about Nas. I think probably via Mob Deep, I probably heard about Nas. And then Nas kind of took ownership of everything I wanted to listen to, you know. And then a little bit later on, after the Queensbridge era, a little bit later on, Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Dead Prez, etc. All of that whole the conscious side of hip hop, so to speak.
I saw a post someone put up yesterday, and I forget who it was. And it was like, it was a comment on a post. And the comment was, But Nas, why did you sell out?
How did Nas sell out?
I'm baffled. That was the comment. And I'm there thinking, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Nas.
I mean, look, he's done commercial tracks. He's done, but he's never kind of left where he came from, really. He's always come back with something to do with where he is.
Yeah, I would never say Nas sold out. With regards to obviously the Nas and Jay-Z beef, that's the only reference people could ever even reference because Nas was a very kept himself to himself. Apart from that altercation that he had with Jay-Z, but even that, it's debatable if he won or he lost the battle, so to speak. But yeah, people can say Jay-Z is more successful now or etc. But as for lyrical ability and listening ability, for me, I would always pick Nas over Jay-Z.
I think most people would agree with you on that one.
100%.
Right, so you're there around the block with everybody. I mean, you could have taken the wrong path in your life. You know, first of all, before you get into the music side of things, why didn't you take the other path? Because I'm sure that would have been a lot easier than going, yo, I'm going to be an artist.
I think for me, growing up, my dad was always in jail. Like, that was just a standard thing. And like they say you learn from your parents, but you also learn. You don't actually have to. When they say you learn from your parents, it doesn't mean you're gonna actually follow them and copy them. You can actually learn from their mistakes. So I always saw jail as a no-go for me. I always saw my freedom as more valuable than any type of financial gain I could obtain. Do you understand? So I weighed up I done, obviously I was about, but I didn't do anything that was crazy, which I knew, I could actually proper go to prison for this, so I could proper fall off the track. So yeah, and I always had my mom. My mom was a pillar for me, so she was always there for me with regard when it came to financially, etc. And that's why you have to understand. A lot of the people I grew up with, it was a lot to do with financial restraints. Like I was the only child on my mom's side, so if I ask my mom for something, she's gonna more time make it happen for me. But with a lot of my other friends' parents, etc., their lifestyles and their household wasn't as secure as mine, so they didn't have certain luxuries that I had. So they were not forced to make certain decisions, but they were more inclined to make certain decisions.
Or it was easier to take the other path.
Yeah, it was easier, etc. So yeah, like for me, I was always able to come home to peace and tranquility. You know, obviously there was everyone has their family problems, but you know, some of my brothers and sisters and that they had some different type of upbringings where I never excused their actions, but you can kind of sympathize with their position, so you can understand why they would have done certain things.
One thing that's not luxury for me is time. Yeah, I don't have the time to be able to go back and listen to something a million times. So when I listen, I try and listen attentively to try and catch as much as I can. And certain things that you were saying, like you tried to tell your brothers, don't do this, don't do that. People don't listen, then they fall into the traps of whatever they fall into. You know, those are the kind of lyrics that I recall from you, that you were always trying to guide people. Did you feel like because you had options, you were trying to in some way show these other people that there is options?
I think yeah, subconsciously probably that was the reason and the origin for that angle and that approach. But like I said, when from young, I made my own studio and in my yard, and everyone from the ends was in my yard making music, you know. So they used to come with their vibration, and my vibration. I won't say I've always, but I've always delivered how I deliver now. Do you understand? When I was growing up, I had a few. I could probably go back and find some tracks where, or why did I say that kind of thing. But on the whole, my music has always been kind of like from a righteous perspective. So even though I was surrounded by people that were very influenced by the ignorant music and thought that's how they need to sound and that's how they need to deliver their message, I was always trying to put my spin on whatever I'm involved in, you know. So yeah, it was always it's just a part of me. I was never made to be a certain way. So for me to spit a certain way would be false and fake.
How easy would it have been for you to take the other path and go for the money and actually make the money and put all the substance aside?
Well, easy, I think, ultimately. I think there's been positions and times, or many times in my career, whereby I could have easily just made foolishness, like made a foolish decision and just made music for the masses, so to speak. And that's what I don't mind making that type of music, you know. Like this is my studio. If one day, if we turn off the cameras and we turn on a beat and we catch a little jokey vibe and we boom bam boom and that happens, that happens. But you can't pay me to go in the studio and creatively make something that's just, oh, this is just for the money. So talk about girls and shooting people, please. Nah, I'm alright. That's not really my bag, you know. I'm not really gonna jump through hoops, you know, just for them power note. So yeah, I think a lot of artists, like it's easy. It would be easy for them to make foolish music, but if foolish music isn't organic and authentic to you, then boy, you can't really make it.
You mentioned your studio from when you were young. Tell us a little bit about your studio, why you decided to set up your studio, whether it was a plan to turn it into a business or whether it was just something for yourself, and you know how you ended up getting to the place where
Well,
people knew you existed and came to use your premises.
well, basically, it wasn't like my studio in my yard wasn't a premises where people could come and rent. You understand? It was just for the man, the people I knew, etc. But it came and the origins from it were probably from the fact of not wanting to spend £15 an hour on studio time, you know. And
That
even
was
though
cheap.
that's bloody cheap, peanuts, bro.
Yeah,
That's
we,
back
we
then.
were paying like £40 an hour.
That's what I'm saying.
You
But my
know?
studio in Bounds Green with my engineer Simon, salute Simon still. And yeah, he used to charge us £15 an hour. But we used to go in there and kind of mess about. So we'd be in there for like 10 hours sometimes. So it would start mounting up the money, basically. And Bounds Green's not close to Brixton either, you know. So yeah, it just came from a fact of, wow, we need to be self-sufficient, you know. From early, I've always known being self-sufficient is the way, it's the key. From shooting my videos, I used to shoot my own videos. Everything has always been done by myself from the get-go. I've outsourced as time's gone by, but yeah, from the start, it's always been a DIY situation. So with the studio, naturally, we need our own premises, we need our own space, and I think I built it first in my mum's house in Lewisham. First of all, I built a little setup there, and then when I moved back to my nan's house in Brixton, I brought it back with me. And then obviously, as I brought it back, the whole estate, everyone who's involved in music, then boom, 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 formed our little crew, Fields affiliated, formed our crew back then, and yeah, we were like from Mitesfield, Fields affiliated. We're from here. Then you had PDC, which was from Angeltown, predominantly, but scattered around Brixton really. And you had a member from there called Biker. He was part of PDC, but he was very like everywhere in Brixton. So from young, from when he was a kid, I couldn't tell you how old he was, probably like 8 or 9 or something like that. He used to come round Mitesfield and chill with us on the block, etc. So Biker was just known about by everyone. So that's how I knew biker from young. And then when the music situations came about, when I had my own studio, etc., linked back up with bikes, and we kind of brought in the PDC lot, and kind of brought everything together.
What happened to PDC? Because once upon a time you were hearing the name everywhere, then suddenly it just went quiet.
Growing up, man.
So they no more music, no music affiliation.
PDC's in different names now. There's different titles for it. You know, everyone like PDC is Brixton, if you really want to put it like that. Like,
Of course.
And anyone that's coming from Brixton will tell you PDC, and it's from Sneak Bowl to Political Peak to anyone coming from Brixton has got foundations within PDC. You know, from LOWKEY, his dad's in PDC. You know, so it's all stems from PDC. Anything that's coming from Brixton, basically. And what happened to it? Boy, it just broke down, man. Everyone grew up. There come a time when it got a bit political and everyone split up and everyone had their own little crews, etc. But that was just a part of evolution. Like, even then, after people splitting up and forming their own crews, they're never going to be able to sit down and have an interview like this and not mention PDC. Do you understand? Because that's part of the history and that's part of the heritage. So yeah, from then I linked up with bikes, kind of linked up with PDC them times there, and yeah, that was kind of my introduction to PDC and how I got affiliated, and we kind of started working a lot together, and got brought into that situation there.
I mean, obviously the studio, you started building a lot of relationships with a lot of artists. I guess your confidence level is now rising as well, because people are kind of seeing you for what you're adding to the equation. Where did that confidence take you next?
It took me on the roads, to tell you the truth. It took me out of Brixton. It took me out of my comfort zone, so to speak. So from then, from like realizing, right, I could do this thing on let me go and see what's really going on out there. So I started to go to open mics. Open mics were kind of my forte. If I heard about open mic in any part of London, boom, we're gonna make it there. We're gonna terrorize the mic. People are gonna remember us. Our little trick was
Can you put a timeline on that?
I'll have to say to my age. My age, I would have been like about 20, 21. So yeah, you might say 2002.
Where were these open mics you were going to?
Mainly Deal Real. Deal Real was the spot, you know. There was a few local little ones where we used to attend, but Deal Real was the main hub. You know, that was the one where we're making sure we're going to that. And there's always something new happening. There's always an artist coming through. Cypher's outside, Mike GLC, Snuff, Manage, myself, Reveal, Doc Brown hosting. Like, that was, that was the origin and the birthplace of everyone. Anyone from that era who came to Deal Real, we all know each other now till today. It's like a family, extended family, you know. Deal Real was the hub, man. It was the hub. I mean, like how you got a youth centre in certain estates and certain areas where everyone leaks up. Deal Real was that.
That would be an interesting thing to hear from you as well. You see, you mentioned youth centres. Now, I remember when I was growing up, there was youth centres.
Yeah.
And I was also allowed to go to youth centres that I wasn't even associated with, because I had friends there. They'd all recognize me and be like, yeah, just come in, Blade, whatever. Right? But now the kids got nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's different now. There's not.
Right. So you're someone who can speak on that, because you've seen that, and you're also like discussing subject matters not too dissimilar to that in your music.
Yeah, no, 100%. Youth centres got wiped out. I'm not sure exactly when. You could probably say.
Okay, let's not worry about when. Let's not put a timeline on when. But why?
Lack of funding, lack of intention, lack of people that have that intention of creating that space for the kids to, you know, and with crime rates rising, there was a lot of fuckery that used to go on at certain youth centres. You know what I'm saying? So that might have been a deterrent for people to endorse or put their money into it. But yeah, I think the main reason is all around people say the funding kind of dried up for that sector.
Dried up or dried up on purpose?
Boy, I think it just got misplaced and got put in other places and other areas. That's what probably in politicians' pockets, really and truly.
Can I also put in something there?
Go for it.
Rent boys for the politicians.
Rent boys for the politicians. Yeah, they go. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You know, these politicians are moving mad, and you know, we know already that they keep up their fuckery. So yeah, potentially that's where the money's going. I don't know where the money's going, but yeah, that's probably somewhere it could be going still. Yeah, lots of places, man. These politicians pay for their rent, their mortgages, their third mortgages, their kids' mortgages. You know, their fancy cars, their rent boys, obviously. You know, all of their extracurricular activities. They use the budgets that they're supposed to use on the people. You know, so
I guess from that they don't give much of an option to the kids on the street. So then the kids on the street have to find their own way.
that's what it is. From when there's we make our opportunities. You know, if there's no opportunities there in front of us, okay, I'm gonna go and find something. I'm gonna go and make something happen.
Okay. So then I guess that fits nicely into the existence of hip hop, which you're an artist in. So when you got into hip hop, what was the reason that you got into hip hop? Was it just simply for the sake of I enjoy this, I want to make music, or did you at some point kind of think, you know what, maybe I could make this a career, maybe I could get a life out of this?
You said it in the right order. My first instinct and initial reason is I love doing this. Like, I love creating. I'm a creator. I like to write lyrics. I like to express myself in that way. And then later on, and very later on, might I add, you know, like really and truly, if I had have been more business minded earlier on in my career, I would be financially a lot better off now. Do you understand? So I always urge kids and youngers coming up in the music industry, make sure your business is correct from the get-go. Never stop having the passion to do it, but ultimately make sure your business is right. And that's what my downfall, I'd say, yeah, straight up, I'd say my downfall as an artist was not having my business and not having somebody to take care of my business, not having a manager, not putting my faith into a manager where you can handle that, I can just be creative. Because growing up in the industry, it was always a struggle to manage both and to juggle both. And by juggling both, you're always you're taking away from one by trying to do the other. You know, so yeah, it was always an issue.
I mean, I've known you long enough to know the kind of person that I know, but you also strike me as a person that's not afraid to admit to your failings and not just talk about your successes, you know. So I'm guessing that you're also not one of these guys that basically is not willing to pass your information on to youngsters because you don't want them to see them, you don't want to see them do better than you, because there are people out there like that.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, maybe, yeah, there is people like that out there, but that's not, like, I want to see everybody do better than me.
Yeah.
Now, not
Otherwise,
just the
what's the point,
youngers,
right?
not just the youngers, the olders as well, everybody. Yeah, I think ultimately it's just about intention, you know, and good intentions are not, they don't end. You don't. Okay, I have good intentions, but I'm not there. Do you know what I'm saying? So good intentions, you have that for everybody. You want everybody to do better and get better and be better. This is like I say, I go back to like I said a little while ago about having the business side, your business side on tap. Like I used to do free shows all the time, bro. Like for fun. It was just normal. You could phone me and alright, cool, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? And to the point where even certain people around me, I won't put their names in it. You'll probably interview or have interviewed them before, but yeah, you get labeled as the guy who does charity shows or the guy who does that type of stuff, and you get thrown into that box. So there's another whole world of promoters who actually pay for bookings, who, like you say, they pay for people's time. Do you understand? And that's a big world. There's a big world of people that pay for people's time, whether or not you're giving them a pedicure or you're giving them studio time. There's people that pay for it. Then you got this world of people that we want to just and cut through.
Can I just say, Logic just said pedicure. Wow.
Right on the blade. Out of everything I just said, that's
Where's
what you
your head
took
at?
from it. I said that's what you took from everything I just said. That was your comment. Bloody hell, man.
Listen, bro, I'm a lyricist, man. I pick up on words, innit? And that word stood out because it's the one word that didn't fit in.
Madman,
What does hip hop mean to you, and what has hip hop meant to you all these years?
Yeah, no, hip hop's my life, man. Obviously, it's my occupation, it's my passion, it's my hobby, it's my intention, it's everything that I love doing, you know. So it's a big part of my life right now, and it's grown to be that, As I say at the start, it was a strict hobby and just something I love to do and exercise, But yeah, it's becoming to a major part of my life, second to my family, obviously.
Did you ever feel that you've done a lot of work, but you're not seeing the results, and what have I got to do to get the results? And is it connections? Is it affiliations? What is it?
Yeah, no, I think like the wake up call for me, I think was having my daughter when I was how old was I when I had Imani? But yeah, I was 30 when I had my daughter, and that's when I realized this can't just be a hobby, you know. Either I've got
Why did it take you so long to realize that?
because I was carefree, I was just a young free individual. Well, to tell you the truth, there was a little bit before that when people around me, because I pressed up my first album, Gabalanzi. I pressed it on CD. Probably pressed it with you, to tell you the truth.
I think you did.
And but I didn't put it online. I just had physicals, And everyone around me was like, yo, you need to iTunes, all that kind of stuff, and put it online and that. And yeah, it was only when I had my daughter I kind of took it serious. Like, right, yeah, I need to put my stuff online, start selling my music globally because obviously I'd built up a fan base around the world. So there was people I could sell to in Australia, and there was people I could sell to in China. So for me not to kind of, I don't like to use the word capitalize, but yeah, for me not to capitalize on that kind of exposure, it was silly for me. So yeah, it made me know that I can't just sit around. I have to kind of make a future for my daughter, so to speak. So with that energy, it pushed me to be more business minded and get my business side intact. So yeah,
And
from the
is that when the professional studio came along?
the professional studio came along.
As in the commercial rather than based at your house?
That came later on, to tell you the truth. Because after my house studio, after the PDC years, etc., etc., I started to use other people's studios.
Let's go back. So you went from having your studio, your recording sessions in commercial studios, then putting up your own studio in your place, and then scrapping that and going back to commercial studios before you built your professional studio.
Yeah.
To start letting out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Why was that? Why did you go that step back? I know sometimes you go back to go forward, but why did you personally do that?
It wasn't really a specific reason behind it, you know. It was just I think my growth as an artist had grown out of my own studio. I started linking with producers who had their own studios and had their own situations going on. I linked up with Last Resort, which was the main producer I linked up with, and we made a couple of projects, True Talk and More True Talk. We made 2 albums together. So for them periods there, I was using his studio. Before that, I linked up with Morpheus and them kind of from Big Cakes through Big Cakes, and I linked Big Cakes at one show. Then he took me to Morpheus' studio. Then from Morpheus' studio, I linked up with Rago Zulu Rebel and all those East London hip hoppers. And I just found it more comfortable to go and be a creative rather than be at the desk engineering, you know. Because that was my thing. At my studio in my house, I was the engineer. So when I started to go out, I wasn't an engineer. I was just a creative. I'll write to this, boom.
Did you feel you had more freedom that way?
Much more freedom. Right. And much freer to express myself and easier to express myself.
See, that would have been an important role for a manager.
I know if I took a manager, like there was people around me who took managers, and you might say, look at their careers now, and they've made a little bit more development and I have. But yeah, I'm not adverse to the obviousness of having a manager is very useful, very helpful.
Where do you think UK hip hop went wrong? Like we had everything. We were making all the right noises at a certain time, and then all of a sudden, it's just kind of like everyone's gone back to struggling. Like, you know, there was a time when we could tour the country and be gone for 35, 40 days. Now we'd be lucky if we can go for 3.5 to 4 days.
I'm not sure, you know, my brother. To tell you the truth. Because some would even debate as, did it go wrong? Has it gone wrong? So, like, for you could do that. You understand? Because you were, in your time, you lot were doing it. Do you understand? Now, there's other people doing it. There are people that are doing it. You understand? It's just like the underground scene. This is where, because what people have to understand, what happened is that when you were around, the underground and the overground were very connected and combined. Do you know what I'm saying? They were very interlinked for obvious reasons. There was no social media. It was a different way of doing it. So you had to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Even for you as a overground artist, you still have to be underground to go and get your props and make people know about you. So it was a very smaller industry. So in that time, everyone had different capabilities. Now, for somebody to tour the UK and do etc., yeah, you have to have your following and your ability to do so. And people can do it from the underground scene, you know, who are still in the underground scene. You've got the likes of Mike Righteous, or you've got the likes of Coops, or you've got a bag of underground artists who are still on the underground hip hop scene who can tour the UK. So it's not something that I would say, I don't even think anything's gone wrong. I think evolution is what it is. I think it's not as easy for you lot, for yourself and Roddy Peas and, you know, Black Twang even. Black Twang's probably keeping the most relevant out of everybody because he's got a big hit, got a very big song that was commercially, globally, etc., etc. But even then, it's a struggle for him. But I think for your generation to do a tour, it's gonna be a struggle because your fan base is not people that go out no more. They're not people that are on Instagram.
Let's be real,
They're
half
not
of them are
people
dead
that.
now.
Well, that's a bit drastic, but yeah, you're probably right.
No, I've
But
seen loads of them go.
ultimately, a lot of them are past. If they're not coming out, they don't know about Instagram. They don't know about it's even on. Like even down to my generation, to tell you the truth, I'm after your generation, but my fan base, I could go and do a show in Sheffield, yeah, and then post about it, and then 2 months later, I'll get a message from someone in Sheffield saying, "Oh, I didn't even know you was around."
That's mad,
Because,
isn't it?
but no, it's mad, but it's understandable because we're not online like we used to. We're not current, so you have to know what's current, and what's current is the young kids who are on their phones all the time. They know what's going on.
What are the origins of People's Army? Give us a full, detailed description of how it all began
People's Army. How
and
did
why
we
it all began.
begin?
And salute.
Salute as always. People's Army. How it began? Well, basically, it began myself and LOWKEY, who I met at Dilreal. We formed an alliance, and we originally. I'm gonna fly through this, so it's not long. We originally created a project called the NWO, which was short for the New World Order, and we made music. We made an album. We made a few music. We didn't release any of this music, to tell you the truth, but we made a lot of music for this project NWO. But when we started to promote it, people didn't really understand why we were calling ourselves the New World Order. We were saying that we need our own world order, our new world order. But when you're promoting something, it has to be self-explanatory. You can't be having to, oh, what does that mean, kind of thing. So we kind of quickly scrapped the idea of new world order, and we were listening to a lot of, well,
Immortal Tech and
Immortal Tech, yeah, obviously Immortal Tech. Dead Prez was mainly
right, yeah,
on my radar for their Let's Get Free album. The Let's Get Free album was
sick album.
monumental for me.
Yeah.
It was groundbreaking. It was probably one of the best.
It was one of the albums that was on our tour bus non-stop, constant
It's,
repeat.
it's an album that makes. It's an album that made me know that you can make a whole piece of body of work and every single track have a message.
So People's Army, tell us more.
Yeah, People's Army. So basically, yeah, we evolved from NWO after inspiration from Dead Prez, who originally started People's Army in the States. And yeah, we started the People's Army with that intention of uniting all the conscious artists in the hip hop
So
industry.
wait, Dead President already started People's Army out there,
Pardon me? They'd already started, yeah.
and they called it People's Army.
Yeah.
So why did you not get a different name? Why did you use that same name?
Because it wasn't really something that we wanted to own. Do you understand? We wanted like an umbrella, and that's what People's Army is for Dead Prez. It's not like a group, a collective. It's not like it's just like something they all screamed. You know, it was a movement that they created.
Right. And you just expanded on it.
100%.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where we went with it. We messaged all of the artists. Well, not I won't say all of the artists. We messaged a lot of artists in the UK, from Genesis Elijah to Malik MD7 to Judge Souls. They'll all tell you about the MySpace message that they got from the get go.
So when was that? Around 2009, 10?
You probably say a bit earlier than that, you know, probably 2006 maybe.
Okay. How do you kind of look at certain people and go, right, I'm going to reach out to them because I want them as part of this? What is it that makes you kind of go?
Them days there, it was just mandem. It was just everyone around who had thought, okay, we need to be collectively pushing out the same message, you know.
So were you looking at just people that were known but not well known? Or were you looking at, like, I don't care, it could be the biggest artist in the world?
Don't care at all, because them days there, no one was really known. Yeah, everyone had their little kind of their little buzz, but there was no one who I reached out to who was, gone clear, so to speak. So yeah, it was just a matter of getting all the like-minded people together.
How do you decide who goes into People's Army?
Well, the People's Army it's an ideology. This is where it was. There's a collection of people who all thought the same way. So with that ideology, it was a matter of people can be in the People's Army without even being in our vicinity. So if you are from out of Mongolia and you believe the same things we believe, and you want to stand up against injustice and stand up against the oppressors, then you're already in the People's Army because it's the People's Army. So there wasn't really any set guidelines, so to speak. And even musically, we kept our message on a certain in a certain direction. I think that was just influenced by the fact that everybody knew we're the People's Army, so we have to write accordingly. But in their own spectrums, in their own vicinity, yeah, they'll write what they want to write. They're not bound to be this sort of artist.
What was radio and media support like for anything media? Anything People's Army connected?
We never really had any type of radio or magazines.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because my next question was, do you think it has something to do with the rebelliousness of what you were doing?
100%. What we were saying was not seen as marketable. It wasn't seen as the in thing to say. We were saying a lot of controversial stuff. We had people from all walks of life under our banner, so it was hard and difficult, and it was a test for anyone to kind of get on board with us from a business standpoint. Anyone who was business minded, they were kind of, oh, let's not go over there because they're gonna mess up our little thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were very outcasted, I'd say, at a point. I never concentrated on radios or or magazines getting involved. If anything came across or came along our path, I might try and like pursue it, but I wouldn't go out there to seek. You understand? We already had, okay, we can go and do a show in Oxford for 200 people. Boom. So we're good. You know what I'm saying? We were already creating our movement within ourselves.
So what does People's Army stand for?
People's Army is a collection and a group of individuals who all believe in using their art form to create positive change. So whether it be you're a graffiti artist or you're an MC or you're a producer, you all have the same mind frame of let's make something positive happen out of what we're doing.
How many members you reckon?
Numbers are immediate members. I could probably put my hand on like proper immediate members around me functioning and actually doing things locally. There'll probably be maybe under 100. I got a WhatsApp group of like 300 people, but yeah, we're always working. We're always building. We're always.
With that in mind, if you feel like, because the magazines and the radio and stuff haven't ever supported, then you're surely in a position to be able to kind of set up your own tours, your own everything.
We always have. Everything I've
So
done.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, everything I've done, I've always set up myself. Any tours I've done of the UK, any overseas shows, and I've done a lot. Anything I've done within my career has been off my own back, and yeah, without the help of a lot of people.
How does that feel? Like, in one breath, it's kind of like, fuck this, no one's helping. In another breath, it's like, fuck them, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, not even the first breath don't even come in. The second breath is, fuck this, I'll do it myself. But also, I love doing this, so I'm gonna fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? I love to perform, and if there's a small fan base in India that say, oh, we love your music, and I'm able to book my flight and go out there and perform for you lot, cool. That's a blessing. So they're the type of steps I've made in my career to get me forward and further. And if you had a manager or a label, these are the type of things that they would actually initiate for you to do. Do you understand? They'll build you a little small fan base in Cambodia, and then get you flown out there so you can perform to them, and then get the footage and promote that. And so these are the things as independent artists we kind of need to do.
So what's the future hold for People's Army? What's the plan? What are you trying to achieve overall in the end? What is the most important change that you, as the person that spearheaded the movement, would like to see happen?
That's a very big question.
So answer with a big answer.
A big answer, there's only one answer for that, really, yeah, which I'm going to say. But there's so many smaller answers which are more local. But the one big answer is world peace. If we're able to use music to create frequencies that can globally create a peaceful situation globally, then yeah, that's the aim. It's important because I have a child, you know, and I want her to be, I'm going to go one day, you know, and I want her to be in a world where it's peaceful and it's not always about war, and she doesn't have to think about, she's able to just live her life without complications, you know.
You know, what is the most noticeable growth that you've seen from that child to who you are now?
The noticeable growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, your questions are mad, Blade. Your questions are mad. The most noticeable growth would be maturity, I suppose. At realizing there's bigger things in life. There's bigger fish to fry, and just being mature about every situation you enter. So yeah, maturity, I suppose.
How many albums have you got up to now?
How many albums? 11, about 11, 12, I think.
And how many singles?
Singles. I never used to release singles, you know.
Okay.
I used to just release albums.
Okay.
I got a few singles I released recently.
There was that time where UK hip hop was looking really healthy. Then suddenly it stopped. And then you come along and you done a track that I thought captured the rawness of what you stand for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it has something really catchy about it. And it was I forget who the person was. Shania, Shadiah or someone like that.
Oh, Shadia.
Shadia.
Yeah, Shadia.
I thought that was going to do some serious damage.
Yeah, man. That, tell you the truth, that did, man. That, especially in the Arabic community.
Right.
Anywhere I go around the world, like the Arabic community know about that song. Because Shadia Mansour is the first lady of Arabic hip hop.
Okay.
So she's a big deal in that world of Arabic hip hop.
You still in contact?
Yeah, that's my sister for life.
So what happened there? Because I really thought that was just going to take off in a massive, massive way, where I would be. You know, we were talking earlier, a few minutes ago, about radio and media support. I thought that would have kind of broken down all those walls and people would have been interested.
Well, the message wasn't really for the radio and media, you know. Yeah, it was very the message was very clear about Palestine and about, especially with the video as well. It was very anti-Zionist.
Yeah.
You know? So for that reason, I think there was a lot of doors that got shut.
So you think that just that track made things worse?
It made things worse, but it just done what it does. Ultimately, people know what I'm about, and people know that what I stand for. You know.
Do you think it's more fear than anything? Like these guys are kind of ruffling our feathers a little bit, and we're happy with our feathers the way they are.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. It's that they don't want no one ruffling their feathers. It makes things difficult for them and gives them headache. They don't want no headache. So if they can live a life without headache.
So is that another change you want to make?
Well, inshallah, hopefully that kind of changes. It's up to people's perception and how people want to grow, you know, and how people want to educate the youngers. Mm-hmm. Like, so look, I can't educate all the youngers. You can't educate all the youngers in the world. You can only educate who you can reach. So as long as people have the same kind of perspective and the same ideologies, then hopefully the next generation and the generation after that can make the improvements that we were unable to make.
What's the most important album you've released?
I'd probably say Gabalanzi, and only for the fact that it was my first album and it was my most genuine, my most purest, unfiltered, unmixed, unmastered, untouched. You know, it was just my pure thoughts. There was no influence from anyone. There was lots of tracks where it was just me rapping. You know, so yeah, I think for me that was the most organic album. Then as the years progressed, I kind of started to get more technical and intricate with how I delivered my message. You know.
See, what I like about the work that you do is you're one of these guys that can throw in so many variations to the background music that you use. So like where, say, some artists would just have like a hard sound or a dancey sound or whatever sound. You know, you're not afraid to delve into other areas. So one minute you'll rap to an acoustic guitar. Next minute you'll be rapping to a pop song, you know, a massive pop song or whatever. And no matter what it is, the message always comes across crystal clear. Like it's never diluted.
Oh yeah, ultimately it's yeah, you gotta be able to adjust, you know, and adapt with your climate, you know. So, and me as a music lover, I don't just love hip hop, you know. I love music. I love the vibration that it creates. So there's not only positive music in hip hop. There's positive music in all different genres. So when I hear something that takes my energy and takes my soul, I have to gravitate towards it naturally. Most people that hear me, there's not a lot of people that hear me and think, oh, he's shit. It doesn't really happen.
I tell you, it's interesting you say that because the other day I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, I'm going to be talking to Logic in a couple of days. And he was like, yeah, don't really know nothing about him, don't rate him. And I was like, you don't know nothing about him, so you don't rate him. How about you go and listen and then you come back and tell me how you feel? So I sent him a couple of links and he listened and he came back. He goes, shit, he's dope. See what I'm saying?
And I think that's what happens, yeah. I think that's what happens a lot of the time. A lot of people don't, who haven't heard me, they'll go and hear me and think, oh, right, he's good. And that's just a matter of me needing to promote myself more and get myself to more people's
So
ears.
have you?
Well, yeah, like I said, I'm here now, but at the same time, there's other criteria that has a factor. I'm not in my prime age for.
Do you think that matters nowadays, though? You got the internet. Once upon a time,
No,
you were
no, it's not so much it matters, but I'm saying that I've kind of evolved as well to whereby I'm trying to be that person for youngers, you know.
okay. All right. So that I guess leads nicely into the logo that we see on your screen, KingShip Studios. So you're trying to be here for the youngsters. So KingShip Studios, you've had well-recognized and well-respected names, people that have gone on to achieve big things. Your Little Sims, a few other people here and there. You know, I think you mentioned, was it Reg 32?
No, Rich doesn't come through. Who came through? Avellino came through our studio.
Avellino.
We've had lots of big names come through our studio when they've been big names. Not before they were big names, from Little Sims to Dappy to, you know, we've got Section Boys. We've got loads of people have come through our studio over the years.
Right. So how's the studio going?
It's nice, man. It's good. It's ticking over, and it's more so a place for me to be able to come and express myself.
Right.
You know, and on top of that, it's accessible for people to rent out and utilize for themselves. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's kind of my ideal situation.
Why is it called KingShip? Because it was set up in King's Cross at first.
No.
Why is it called KingShip?
Well, basically, I set it up originally with my brother Steady. And we just always call each other King. Like, yo King, Wagwan King. Yeah, but because we know the value of our people, so we embrace it. And for that fact alone, we just kind of adapted the ship of people coming aboard our vessel and being a part of our movement and going together. So yeah, I just proposed it to Steady one day. What do you feel of kingship? And he jumped. He said, "Yeah." He didn't even. There was no debate about it, because he kind of knew it made sense.
So for those who don't know who Steady is, do you want to give people a quick breakdown?
DJ Steady. Yeah, Steady's my brother from another man. I met Steady through Mighty Mo, who's Heartless Crew's one of the founders of Heartless Crew. And yeah, Steady's just a good stand-up brother, man. Met him through Mo. We kind of connected and clicked. When I originally got the offer for the studio premises in King's Cross, I hit up Mo originally, and Mo said, "Oh, rah, it's in Islington, North London. Hit up Steady." And these times I knew Steady through Mo from going to events, etc. And we were super cool. So yeah, I hit up Steady, and Steady said, "No, didn't even think about it. It was a natural decision for him." So, and he lived right around the corner from the studio. So yeah, man, everything made sense and fell into place.
And how long was that in King's Cross for?
We were there for like 2 years.
And then Rent.
And then Rent said, "Yo, what you doing? What you doing over here? You're not supposed to be up here. I'm Mr. Rent. Go back down there where you're. But yeah,
Was that in the middle of the pandemic or before?
we opened up in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
Ironically, we thrived during the pandemic.
Like, what, even though people weren't allowed out?
People weren't allowed out, but yeah, we thrived during the pandemic. And then a little while after, and then yeah, they upped the rent. Said, "Yeah, the rent's this much now." I said, "Oh, well, cool." Back down to South London, Bermondsey, and we found this little gem of a spot.
Basically, with KingShip Studios, okay, so you've now moved into Bermondsey, and it's commercial premises for anybody to use, right?
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to promote it? What have you got to say that you could sell it?
And hit us up, KingShip Studios on the Instagram. We provide professional recording music facility, music studios. We have a base in Bermondsey. We also have a base in East Acton. So yeah, hit us up if you want to record your vocals. We also have outsourcing mix engineers if you want that type of stuff done. But yeah, recording studios, we here, man.
So is it a case of people have to come in with their music already, or can you produce for them? Or
There are producers on the team, but you'd have to request that when you're booking. So essentially we provide a studio to record your vocals, so you need to bring your backing instrumentals. But if you want to actually build music and build a track, then we can have that conversation.
Times have changed. Like in our day, we were producing, then we would go into the studio and we'd put it all together and on reel to reels and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like people send off and they might go on YouTube and buy a beat of somebody, so they've got the beat already produced. Then they just need to find somewhere to record a vocal, and that's all they need.
Definitely, bro. Nowadays the game's changed, and
Yeah.
the equipment that we got access to has changed. So it's evolution,
Has that made life easier for you or more difficult?
Easier, man.
Okay.
Much easier. Same way it's
Is that
easy.
why in the middle of an interview you can order kebabs and shit?
Straight
and
like that, we can do everything nowadays. I had a conversation with my daughter, and I ordered Uber Eats. Asked you if you wanted Uber Eats, and it all happened in the space of the interview. Boom,
In the time that you've had KingShip Studios, we've already mentioned that you had some people that basically have gone on to achieve big things and everything. I guess some people would look at that and think, "Oh shit, those are superstars. It must be expensive." You know what I mean? So what have you got to say to people that basically want to use your services and are
Definitely not expensive. That's one thing. My aim is to offer the facility at a very affordable price, not only just for everyone. Everyone's got the same affordable price. So hit us up, because I guarantee our rates are highly competitive, and you won't find any cheaper studio time for the quality that you're gonna get.
And with that, does it come with an engineer that's going to record you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so they just literally need to bring themselves, do the vocals, and they'll get something finished to walk away with.
Exactly that.
Would that be mixed and mastered?
Nope.
Okay.
This is just recording sessions, so you will get your vocals, so you can get it mixed and mastered. And if you want it mixed and mastered, we have engineers that do that.
But that's going to be an extra cost.
Of course. Having your track mixed and mastered is an extra cost. For any artist, they have to know this. You can't expect to pay, okay, my studio time £60 an hour, so I'm gonna book 3 hours in the studio, make 3 tracks, and come out with them mixed and mastered. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, you're gonna vocal your tracks in one session. Then a mixed session is gonna be a whole different separate cost. So this is a recording studio. We record vocals here.
In terms of like booking, is there slots? Like you can book an hour slot, you can book a 5-hour slot, 4 hours, or is there kind of like, look, we only do a 4-hour and an 8-hour? Or
yeah, you can book 1 hour if you need to just come in and lay down something real quick. Yeah, any time slots we facilitate.
Is there absolutely any final words you want to say? Anything?
Nah.
That's it.
That's it.
We're done. Any message for any royalty, government members, anything you want to say to them?
You're trying it.
I'm joking.
My message for them is in my music. So go listen to my music and you'll hear exactly what I'm thinking. But peace, love, and guidance as always to everyone. Stay positive, stay focused, and yeah, man, let's progress together.
All right. So, guys, you heard it there. Logic, People's Army. Someone who I've been following for many, many years. My introduction to him was through me doing an album for him, manufacturing the CDs. And straight away, I was just like, yo, sick, blah, blah, blah.
Bless him.
And basically been keeping an eye on him for many years. And you know what? It's like sometimes when you watch a movie and you see a part 2, you go, right, part 2 is rubbish, part 3 is rubbish. But that's not the case with Logic. Everything is kind of evolved, and the quality, the message, everything has been honed in very nicely. And he's someone who's always invested in himself. He's paid for his videos, and he's done high production quality videos. And, you know, like he said, now he's got his business as well. So if you want to hit him up for studio time, hit him up for studio time. I'll put the links in the description below. But aside from that, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. And make sure you follow Logic as well. People's Army. Peace.